I'm Richard Clarke. I record these talks every day as a way to deepen my inquiry. Listen each day and deepen your own practice. Welcome. I'm reviewing and commenting on the book Talks with Sri Ramana Maharshi. Today is from Talk 612. Mrs. Hick Ridding asked Sri Bhagavan in writing, when Bhagavan writes about the help given towards attaining self-realization by the gracious glance of the Master or looking upon the Master, how exactly is this to be understood? Maharshi, who is the Master? Who is the Seeker? Questioner, the Self. Maharshi, if the self be the master and also the seeker, how can the question arise at all? Questioner, that is just my difficulty. I must seek the self within myself. What is then the significance of the writing above referred to? It seems contradictory. Maharshi, it is not. The statement has not been rightly understood. If the seeker knows the master to be the self, he sees no duality in other respects either, and is therefore happy, so that no questions arise for him. But the seeker does not bring the truth of the statement to bear in practice. It is because of his ignorance. This ignorance is, however, unreal. The master is required to wake up the seeker from the slumber of ignorance, and he therefore uses these words in order to make reality clear to others. The only thing that matters is that you see the self. This can be done wherever you remain. The self must be sought within. The search must be steadfast. If that is gained, there is no need to stay near the master as a physical being. The statement is meant for those who cannot find the self remaining where they are. Mrs. Hick Ridding's question touches on a common theme in spiritual practice, how the presence of a realized teacher helps a seeker attain self-realization. She refers to Sri Ramana Maharshi's writings about the transformative power of the Master's glance or presence and wants to understand how this works. Ramana immediately redirects the question by asking, who is the master? Who is the seeker? This points to a central truth in his teaching. The self alone exists. If both the master and the seeker are the same self, the question itself is unnecessary. This response challenges the assumption that the master is an external being, separate from the one seeking realization. The questioner recognizes the difficulty. She acknowledges that she must seek the self within, yet she struggles on how this statement about the master's presence fits into this understanding. To her, it seems contradictory. If the self is already present within, why would a teacher's presence or glance be necessary? Ramana clarifies that there is no contradiction, only a misunderstanding. The problem arises because the seeker does not fully recognize that the master is none other than the self. If this understanding were complete, there would be no duality, no separation between seeker and master, and therefore no lingering questions. The very act of questioning implies a sense of division, which comes from ignorance. However, Ramana emphasizes that this ignorance is not real. It is an illusion. The self remains unchanged, but the seeker, caught in mistaken identity, believes otherwise. The role of the master, then, is to help the seeker wake up from this illusion. The master does not bestow realization from the outside, but instead points the seeker inward, where the truth has always been. This is why the master may use words or presence as a means of guidance. The gracious glance or physical nearness of a realized being is not about transferring something from one person to another. Instead, it serves as a way to quiet the mind, allowing the seeker to recognize the self directly. Ramana Maharshi concludes by stressing that the only thing that truly matters is seeing the self. This is an inner recognition, not something dependent on physical location. If a person can turn inward and hold steady in self-inquiry, there is no need to be physically close to a master. The statement about the master's presence is meant for those who find it difficult to recognize the self while engaged in their usual environment. For such people, being in the presence of a realized being can act as a catalyst, but it is not a requirement. The self remains ever present, always available wherever one may be. So know yourself and be always free and at peace. In 40 Verses on Reality, Ramana Maharshi explains the nature of the self, the ultimate reality, and self-inquiry. My new book, with my comments and inquiry questions, opens these teachings up and brings them into your practice and experience. Available now from Amazon. Link in the video description. These videos bring Ramana's teachings into your direct experience. Click subscribe to see more. Click thumbs up to like, and send questions and start a dialogue with a comment.